While it hasn't been the best week or couple of weeks for Xbox, I think things are finally starting to turn around. What we're starting to see is gamers are starting to, I think, actually forgive Microsoft a little bit. Like I said, it's not as if they've been giving us bad games for the past 3 years. We've been getting quite good games for the past 3 years. Now, there haven't been many games. Like last year, there wasn't a ton of games to be out, but the ones that we got, even the smaller ones, were pretty decent, and fans seem to like games like High on Life, even though that's not a Microsoft first-party game. Like, almost 8 million people played that, so I think it really goes to show that people are enjoying Game Pass, and even without a huge blockbuster game every quarter from Microsoft, the fans are still coming and pouring into Game Pass and still thinking of it as a quality service. Now, it is on Microsoft to fulfill their promises and to keep all the promises and deals that they made with fans way back when. But I will not lie that there are a lot of people that seem to be of the ilk to say that they are absolutely feeling down on the brand and that they're feeling a little sort of, I guess, losing hope would be a good way to put it. For me personally, I'm on the positive side of this, right? I think Microsoft has done some incredible things, and I'm not going to freak out over one little issue, right? One game. I'm not going to freak out over that. You'd have to be a moron to sort of freak out over that, and I refuse to do that. You know, I think Microsoft has a lot going for itself, and I can't wait to see what they showcase. We're starting to get some more good news here. I can't wait to get into this. Should be a good video. Excuse me a little bit. I sound a little bit off because basically I am a little bit under the weather. So, bear with me as I go through this for right now. But anyway, Phil Spencer possibly, I think, he always does a good job coming out there, and I don't want to say saving Xbox, but in this instance, I would possibly use those terms that he's out there kind of making sure that Xbox is getting looked at in a positive light instead of a negative light. And so this is exactly what he needed to do. He went out, he apologized, and I talked a little bit about this the other day as well, but, he basically said, hey, we didn't deliver on 2022 showcase, but this year's we've got a whole collection of games that we're going to be seeing, right? And he kept it real, which I think is what people kind of relate to. Now, speaking in this interview, Spencer was asked about the previous Xbox showcase, which took place in June of 2022. Last year, during the showcase, you had a 12-month plan. You didn't necessarily deliver on all of the games. No, we didn't deliver, Spencer said. There's no necessarily about it. We didn't deliver. Spencer was given a list of upcoming games that said players still want to know much about, despite having been announced a long time ago, including Avowed, Perfect Dark, Everwild, Fable, State of Decay 3, and Contraband. Going on to discuss this year's showcase, Spencer said, I'm not going to try and overall sell the showcase here, because if I was on the other side watching this, it's like, hey, after Redfall, I'm going to put my hands on the controller, and that's what it's going to take to prove it to me. But that's not what this showcase is. So I'm very enthusiastic about the showcase. We're going to announce some things that people haven't seen, some new games, and we're going to give updates to some of the things that were on the list that you just had. He also said that things that gets me really excited is when I look forward over the next 3 quarters, which has been my main focus. How do we get a big game out every quarter at quality? These are things that are starting to finally line up after some of the shutdown and slowdown through the pandemic. I'm tired of talking about that, but I can see how that we've got some games coming every quarter, and I think it will surprise and delight our customers. We still have to deliver on the creative. We still have to deliver on the technical. Not every game we ship is for everybody. We know that. I'm not trying to build the one game to rule them all. We all have different creative takes, and we all have different creative takes, and we have a very diverse portfolio. When you think about the stuff that Microsoft Game Studio builds that I like. But I think what we're trying to do as Xbox, which isn't to mimic any of their platforms out there, is to create our own brand and identity through the diversity of what we build, which hopefully will end up being a strength. But we have to do it quality. We have to do it on time. We have to show people what they're actually going to see. We have to show gameplay, and I think kind of beyond that, we have to put great games in the hands of our players. There's nothing else that we can do. So the interesting part here is the Series X and S generation so far has had some exciting moments. Like I'm the first to admit that. But there's also been delays and a lot of waiting for releases. So when Microsoft actually start getting more games out the door on the regular basis, it's going to be a little bit different. And I think they're finally starting to understand that, fans are tired of hearing the same old thing over and over and over again. So the same responses about big games coming soon. But Phil did insist the situation really is beginning to improve, mentioning how you can only look forward. Now, I, for one, kind of agree. I've already kind of been looking forward, and I get it why people are very apathetic about the whole situation and how some of them don't trust Phil. But this is what he had to say. I can say now, and everybody can already stop with, I don't want to hear what Phil has to say about the future, and I fully respect that point of view. But we've got Starfield coming, we've got Forza coming, we've got Hellblade coming, like we've got collections of games. I'm seeing very good builds of Avowed, I can see it. But until you have a controller in your hand and you're smiling from playing our games, none of my words should matter. So, in a way, I agree with him. He's saying, I've been playing these games, we've got good games, they're finally starting to come to fruition. We got through the dark time there, but I totally understand why people would, maybe doubt that, and I completely understand that as well. But I trust the process. I trust that, the games are coming because, we've seen them announced. We've seen them, they've had some time now to work on them. I think we're getting closer and closer to them. I actually think that Avowed is next year, but I think Hellblade 2 could possibly be this year, and I've said that multiple times, to be honest with you, and I think other people are starting to kind of notice that as well when it comes down to it. So, Redfall, yes, a little bit of a crap development there, but at the same time, we could be seeing a year that ends with Starfield, Forza Motorsport, and a Hellblade 2, and people will be like, Redfall who? Redfall who? And I think that's going to be the point that people really kind of take into consideration that Microsoft is done playing around. It's something that I already knew for a while now, but they have this idea and goal in mind. I think that this is the year that we get that effectively starting. I'm not saying that every game will be great or, that big game of the year winner, but I think we're starting to see that turnaround. And it does suck that people aren't into Starfield, Redfall, and that Redfall wasn't the game that it could have been. But Phil was very honest and upfront about that. All these companies track these things internally with reviews, and they were thinking that it was going to review better than that. So, it's unfortunate. But again, I'll point this out. I don't have a huge friends list, but more people on my friends list have played Redfall, and then they have played Halo Infinite, then have played Gears 5, then have played Forza Horizon 5, then have played Call of Duty, then have played Fortnite. So more people have played Redfall on my friends list than those other games. I think that says something. I think something is there. I think that some people have fun with it. Listen, believe it or not, so many people played State of Decay 2. Like, I thought it was an okay game, but was disappointed because I guess I expected more coming from the first game. But so many people played that game, and it was just crazy, and people just love that type of game. So if you like kind of looter shooters and things like that, I can understand why maybe you would get into Redfall. I think it makes a lot of sense, and Microsoft could be onto something, man. I'm sure they'll continue to fix this up, and I got a feeling by the time it's all said and done, this is going to be Arcane's most successful game, and people are going to look back to this moment and be like, yeah, man, they really pulled it off and fixed it up after the initial launch, and that's a really good thing. What do you all want to see from their showcase? I think, obviously, I want to see Fable, but I definitely want to see some of the other ones that were mentioned here. The Avowed, Hellblade 2, Contraband. What are these games about? Is Everwild still a thing? Like, let us know. Keep us up to date on things. I think shutting the fans out is never the right way to go about things, and you have to be upfront whether it's good, whether it's bad. That's why I'm thankful that Phil went out there and actually kind of commented on this and was like, hey, this sucks. I'm sorry. I feel bad about it. We're going to try to do our best to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen. You know, we love our fans, we love what we're doing, and we really do. You know, the buck stops here. I think a lesser person would have maybe blamed somebody else or passed the blame. I'm glad that Phil didn't do that. So I'm going to link these articles. You can check them out below. What do you think? Saved Xbox, was it enough? Rack them up. Please like the video. Crap Gamer out.